lifelong hunting rifles barrel is showing its age. It's still a good shooter, but I can tell it's getting tired. And I want to hunt with my suppressor, but the barrel is not threaded. So I got in touch with Gene at Carbon 6 to start the upgrade.
Oh, I hit our paint can.
Oh no!
Spalling opened up our paint can.
That's funny.
There goes all our flat green.
Today, UPS delivered it, and we get to put it back together. Rebarreling offers the chance to change calibers, but I've decided to stay with the eld-x because I have a lifetime of experience with it. I've taken most everything legal with this rifle, excluding moose, grizzles, and those curly-headed goats. This Weatherby Vanguard started with a 24-inch pencil barrel that shot 3/4 of an MOA with Hornady 165 grain interlocks its entire life. That is, 3/4 of a minute of angle if I didn't rush the shots. That pencil barrel was great to carry, but it heated up fast. The first 2 shots would crazy 8 at 100 yards, but the third flew to the next zip code from barrel heat. And everything I shot at dropped, right where it stood. But it's time to refresh the old workhorse. So welcome back. Join us while we set the rifle up and go through the entire process of getting it ready for hunting and maybe ringing some steel. So about the new barrel. I chose Carbon 6 for a 24-inch carbon fiber wrapped 1-in-10 Sendero Profile chambered in 30-06. This should be a titch heavier than the original pencil barrel while offering better rigidity and thermal characteristics. Plus, I can spin on the suppressor. Here's a link to Carbon 6 if you're interested. I'm upgrading the stock to a Stocky's M50 carbon fiber, lighter and more rigid than the factory composite stock, and it comes with an SVL Limb Saver recoil pad. And here's the link to Stocky's. It's in the description as well. The trigger is a Timney trigger, but it's been on this rifle so long I've completely forgotten just what model it might be. It's a single stage, it's crisp, it's clean, and there's no creep or noticeable over travel. Pull weight is in the neighborhood of about 3 pounds. Bottom metal will remain factory because I prefer that sleek, no snag, no noise internal magazine. The floor plate makes for easy cleaning and unloading of rounds when called for. It's a working rifle, and I see no reason to change what works. The first scope I mounted on this thing was a fixed 4 from Leupold. Man, that's been a long time. Which then became a 3-9 when the CDS caps came out. Not a game changer, but it was a decent upgrade. That fixed 4 was a slaughterhouse of a scope for woodland hunting. Today, I'm going with Leupold's 2-10x42 VX5 HD, chosen in part for its zoom range, 2x for close woods and thick brush, and 10x for longer shots that will be aided by the 2-revolution turret. That zoom range and turret combination should get me out past 1,000 yards when I have the yen to ring the big plates, and provide plenty of confidence while hunting at moderate ranges. I'll be mounting the scope on Leupold's 20 MOA backcountry rail and rings. I've never had a problem with slippage or things loosening up over time with the Leupold stuff. I have had some less than perfect experiences with other brands, so I'm sticking with Leupold. So let's get it all put together, take a few initial measurements, and we'll see how it all fits up. A quick note about the stock. Off camera, I spent a couple of hours filing inside this stock to mate the action up to the recoil lug, clearance the safety lever, and fit the rear of the receiver. I may yet have to bed this stock for the best fit, but for now, I'll shoot it and see how it behaves. I mention this because some folks might get the wrong impression here. Most of these types of stocks require some level of fitting. And if you don't have the wherewithal, you might want to consider a chassis system, which should need no such work, truly plug and play. For a does-it-all field load, I've chosen Hornady's 212 grain eld-x as the primary slug for this barrel. A change from my lifelong reliance on a 165 grain boattail soft point core lock. We've had an increasing number of bear encounters in recent years, so I'm looking for a single load, effective for hunting at normal distances and defense close up. I'll still hunt the deep timber with the 165s because they are immaculately effective, and the trajectory is flat enough for a don't worry about it, just put the crosshairs on it and let her rip distance of about 300 yards. Having a load for deep woods and one for defensive use while also hunting for larger animals is desirable, and it leverages the strong suit for the 30-06, versatility. So it's time to add the 212 grain load to our repertoire. Now, we'd already done a lot of load workup for this slug, both in my wife's Browning and with the old Weatherby, so I'll be building on that knowledge. The 212's high BC, coupled with an upgraded scope, makes a fantastic pairing for our type of hunting. Bear country requires dual situation use, and this combo will help. The 212 eld-x shows excellent penetration and terminal behaviors even at extended ranges, and it's a fine choice for ringing steel out at 1100 yards, too. I anticipate the final load will run in the neighborhood of 2600 feet per second, which will make this a real heavy hitter. So I'll ladder through the initial base load, which already shoots sub-MOA in Lawrence Browning and did a great job in the old Weatherby too. Maybe we can do a better job for the fun of it, but I expect my needs are already met. All I need to do now is a short ladder to find this particular barrel's sweet spot and fine-tune the seating depth, as long as it's 3/4 MOA or better. I expect it'll work out because Carbon 6 has a great reputation for quality work. And by the way, if I were working up a true long-range load here, I'd be doing a much more detailed job. It's just not necessary in this instance for even moderately long-range hunting. Now, about breaking in the new barrel. Carbon 6 has a break-in procedure on their website, and I'm going to follow their directions. They want to shoot and clean between each shot for the first 10 rounds, then shoot 3 or 5 rounds and clean for the next 20 rounds, or until the bore cleans up easily. They recommend Butch's Bore Shine, and man, I'm glad I listened. It was a much easier cleaning job using this hypersolvent, but it's nasty. Use it in a well-ventilated area, or better yet, just go outside. It is stinky stuff. It's a heady bouquet of octane and ammonia with finishing notes reminiscent of liver damage. Oh, and you're going to want to wear gloves for this. During setup, I measured the 212's jam CBTO and got 2.683 inches. The Hornady book says cartridge overall length at 3.400 inches results in a CBTO of 2.688 inches. That's jammed nearly 5K into the lands. This is not ideal. So I've loaded 50 rounds for break-in with a CBTO of 2.663 inches, a 20th jump, and we'll see how they fare. Most all rifles I've experienced over the years were happy with a starting jump of about 20K. And now that we're all put together, let's get out to the range. Finally out here on the range, we'll start with some rough bore sighting. A lot of people make a big thing about bore sighting, but fear not, it's pretty easy. I don't know how you do it, but I just look down the bore and center the target within the bore, then transition to the scope and move the crosshair to roughly match that same spot, knowing full well the bullet will drop below that spot. Try aligning the top of an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper with the center of the bore, and put your scope's level line on the top of that page, centered left to right. Bet you your first shot hits a few inches down that page. Just remember that the bullet starts falling the moment it comes out of the barrel. If you're even close with centering in the bore, you'll be fine. Once I have the first hole on the page, I realign the sights to my initial point of aim. Hold the rifle steady while moving the sights to roughly match that bullet hole. No, it's not precise, and I don't care. During barrel break-in, shot placement will move around on the page anyway. Velocities will be inconsistent, and groups cannot be considered as facts. So don't sweat it. Get it close to centered, and carry on with your barrel break-in, shoot and clean game. We're cleaning mostly to ensure the rifle stays cleaner, longer. In theory, proper cleaning during break-in can make subsequent cleanings both less frequently needed and easier to accomplish. Carbon 6 suggests this as their preferred routine, so that's what I'm doing. And, as a bonus, what we learn from today's shooting gives us a baseline we can use during proper load development. Now let's go over the targets and see what's what.
Same hole. 6 rounds into it, and I'm making a bug hole.
Shots 1 through 10 on this target here shows that we're staying on the page, even as we clean and exercise the barrel, something that doesn't always happen. My Savage 110 300 PRC shot 9 MOA, even after the factory had fixed it twice. This target doesn't bother me at all. Shots 11 through 30 are on these targets. Yeah, 5-shot groups, settle down. We're just breaking in the barrel here. If you're offended by 5-shot groups during break-in, you have issues. Shots 31 through 40 show us that we have a very good beginning. We have a decent shooting barrel.
Just outside the goal.
There are no apparent problems with our scope, and my blood pressure is not too high. We can now start to assess this platform's baseline and make good statements about next steps. Our final shots here and here form a couple of decent groups for a hunting rig. 50 rounds, lots of cleaning, and a wonderful day at the range, and we now know this rifle will do well. Thank you, Gene, for all of your excellent work. In our next video, we'll be here on the range again to shoot both charge and seating depth ladders, and if it all goes well, a tall target test. See you then. And as always, thanks for watching.
You're right, those 125s do punch it. You can feel the impact from here.
Far right.